Hey everyone, this is my first official story, in like a whole year. My last one got a total of about 5,000 views. Let's see if we can get more with this one since I don't really see that many Naruto x One Piece crossovers. I have high hopes for this. Now let's get started, I'm excited.
Legend, look at our legacy cause we left quite an impression. I'm a legend. Best yeah, better be, you couldn't doubt for a second. I'm a legend. You're not impressing me, someone you won't be forgetting. I'm a legend. Best believe you're looking at a legend.
What if godlike Naruto appeared in the One Piece universe? Chapter 1. Pilot. Each of the nine-tailed beasts has just given Naruto their chakra to help fight against Kaguya. Let's do this, Sasuke, Naruto says. Right, Sasuke says. Naruto and Sasuke try to seal Kaguya away but she flies up. Sakura shunshuns above her and punches her down, causing Naruto and Sasuke to finally seal Kaguya away when they touch her. The Sage of Six Paths forms in front of them. Congratulations for resealing my mother, Hagoromo says. How do we reverse the infinite Tsukuyomi? Naruto asks. Both you and Sasuke must make a conjoined Hitsuji hand sign, Hagoromo says. Seems easy enough. Come on Sasuke, Naruto says. No, I will use this chance to kill the Five Kage and establish true peace. I'll start by getting rid of the main threat. You, Naruto, Sasuke claims. I suppose I should have seen this coming. The battle between my two sons is not yet over, Hagoromo says. Sasuke uses his Rinnegan to open a portal that sucks Naruto in, making his eye bleed heavily. No, Naruto, Kakashi exclaims while grabbing Naruto's arm. Kakashi's hand slips from his weakened grip strength from chakra exhaustion and Naruto gets sucked in. Naruto yells as he flies through the portal that has just closed. For what seemed like hours but was only seconds, Naruto lands in the middle of the ocean. Damn it, where am I? Naruto asks while treading water. It seems we're in a different universe, brat, Kurama says. Naruto uses his chakra control to walk on the water. You think so? I think I see an island, Naruto says as he starts water walking towards the island. Perhaps you could find a potential vixen in this world. That Hyuga heiress had it out for you, yet you're still too oblivious to acknowledge that, Kurama says. Shut up you damn fox, Naruto blushes. Naruto makes it to the island in just 4 minutes, sees a town and decides to walk into it. As he walks through the town, eventually finding a man named Zoro tied up to a cross in an open field blocked off by a gate. He then spots a little girl hopping the gate with onigiri in her hand and offering it to Zoro. You're not supposed to be here, little girl, Zoro says. Arc. East Blue Chapter 2. Beginning of the Straw Hat Pirates. But you look hungry, so I brought you onigiri, the little girl says. The guards show up. Oh no, that's not good, Naruto mumbles as he continues watching in case something goes wrong. Get lost, little girl, Zoro says. Now don't be a bully, Roronoa Zoro, a boy named Helmeppo says. Naruto glances at a straw hat boy and a pink-haired tiny boy who's also watching. Oh look what we have here, Helmeppo says as he snatches one of the onigiri out of her hand. Some tasty onigiri, he says as he takes a bite. He immediately regretted it when he tasted how nasty it was. He throws it on the ground. Naruto notices the straw hat and the pink-haired boy conversing but can't hear what they are saying. The little girl starts crying. Oh no, so sad, Helmeppo says while laughing. Throw her over the wall, Helmeppo says. The guard grabs her and throws her over the wall. The straw hat boy's arm stretches and catches her. Naruto suddenly appears under the straw hat in a burst of speed and catches him before he hits the ground. Thanks, Whisker Guy, the straw hat says. Name's Naruto, he says. Luffy, the straw hat says. Luffy gets up, hops over the wall, then walks over to Zoro and Naruto follows him. I'll untie you if you join my pirate crew, Luffy says. I'd never become a filthy pirate. All I have to do is stay here for 3 weeks and I'll be let go, Zoro says. Naruto uses his sensory abilities and hears what Helmeppo says. Ha, That filthy pirate hunter, it doesn't matter how long he can survive without food. I'm gonna have my men shoot him down tomorrow, Helmeppo says. Sorry to break it to you, but that butt-chin guy just said he's gonna kill you regardless, Naruto. You're lying. Get lost, Zoro says. I don't have a reason to lie to you, I'm just. Naruto says as he gets cut off. I said get lost, Zoro shouts. Alright geez, Naruto says as he hops over the gate and walks away. What to do, Naruto says as he walks down the street with his hands in his pockets. He hears Zoro's voice in the background. I'm not joining your crew. Zoro yells. Naruto guards are moving in. If you don't go now, those few are going to get surrounded, Kurama says. Naruto sighs and makes a U-turn running towards the base again. Naruto drops in. Sorry for the intrusion, but guards are on their way now. Accept and you live, refuse and those guards will kill you, Luffy states. Zoro sighs. Fine, only if you retrieve my swords from the marine base, Zoro says. Luffy runs off into the marine base. I take it you're a friend of his? Zoro asks. No, I just met him a couple minutes ago, Naruto says. 5 minutes later, Luffy jumps from the roof and turns into a balloon with an orange-haired girl jumping after him, landing softly on balloon Luffy. The guards come out shortly afterwards. Naruto looks confused. What the hell is happening right now? Naruto asks. Here's your swords, now join my crew, Luffy says. Naruto unties Zoro. Thanks Whiskers, Zoro says as he straps the swords to his side. Name's Naruto, not Whiskers, he yells. The guards surround the four of them. Uh-oh, an orange-haired woman says as she puts a map of some sort in her back pocket and pulls out a staff, but as she does that, Naruto notices a tattoo on her arm. Nami behind you, Luffy says as his arm stretches and punches the guard. Yeah, that's definitely not weird, Naruto says. This guy has devil fruit powers, one of the guards says. The hell is a devil fruit? Naruto asks. It's a type of fruit that gives you powers. I ate the gum fruit, making me a rubber man, Luffy says. There's a source of natural energy here, but absolutely no trace of any chakra signatures besides yours in a 8,600 kilometer radius. That's weird, I can only sense half of this planet. This world is a total of 17,200 kilometers from what I can sense so far, Kurama says. I figured that, Naruto thought. Attack them, the captain of the guards says. Naruto ties his headband around his arm and runs towards the guards, knocking them out with a series of punches and kicks. He's fast and a good fighter, Nami thought. Let's get out of here before more show up, Naruto says. I got a boat we could use, Luffy says. The four of them make it to the boat. Nami takes charge and navigates the boat away from the island. Luffy turns to Naruto. Hey Whiskers, you're a good fighter, wanna join my crew? Luffy asks. My name is Naruto, not Whiskers. You know what, Naruto sighs. Fine, I don't have anything better to do, Naruto says. Sweet, Luffy says as he turns to look at Nami. My crew will need a navigator. Wanna join my crew? Luffy asks. Naruto is the only person who noticed her disturbance from the question. Sure, Nami says. She's hiding something, Naruto says. Nami pales. What makes you say such a thing? Nami asked. Your heart rate accelerated when I pointed it out and you were disturbed by his question to join, Naruto says. You're more observant than I gave you credit for, Nami says. Wanna tell us what you're hiding? Naruto asks. I can't join your crew Luffy, but I'll travel with you for the time being, Nami says. Huh, why not? Luffy asks. I have my reasons, Nami says. Can't force her to join Luffy, Naruto says. Luffy groans. Fine, Luffy says. They make it to another island the next morning and walk into town. Chapter 3. Buggy the Clown. It's like a ghost town, Naruto says. There's nobody here, Luffy says. Everyone here ran because of Buggy the Clown, Nami says. Who's Buggy the Clown? Naruto, Luffy and Zoro all say simultaneously. Neither of you know who Buggy the Clown is. The three males look at each other dumbly. Yeah, no, Naruto says. Nope, Luffy says. Zoro shrugs and shakes his head no. Nami face palms. And if it isn't the orange-haired girl again, says one of the three pirates who just turned the corner. Nami, you know these guys? Luffy asks. They're Buggy's goons, Nami says. A lion turns the corner. That can't be good, Naruto says. Richie kill them, the second pirate says. The lion charges them. Naruto does hand signs. What is he doing? Nami asks. Fire-style fireball jutsu, Naruto thought as he shoots a fireball at the lion burning it alive. You have devil fruit powers too? Nami asks. I've never eaten a devil fruit, Naruto says. Then how did you use fire? Nami asks. Special abilities I was born with, Naruto says. Duck. Luffy yells out. Naruto, Zoro and Nami all duck. Luffy's stretched out leg flies over their heads and kicks the pirates, knocking them out. A severed hand flies towards Naruto trying to punch him, but he catches it. A bodiless hand. I take it that it's a devil fruit power. Naruto asks. I'll let go of my hand, you brat, Buggy says. Naruto uses his chakra to increase his grip strength. Buggy yelps in pain. Let go of my hand. Buggy yells. Naruto then gathers natural energy. The pigmentation around Naruto's eyes turns a light blue instead of the normal orange color. I figured that might happen, Kurama says. What happened? Naruto thought. There's no chakra in this world, so your usual sage mode won't work. However, the natural energy within this world is from the ocean. With how this clown guy's hand is reacting, it seems seawater nullifies those with these powers of devil fruit, Kurama says. Naruto glances at Buggy's hand, which has gotten sluggish and weaker. Asterisk. In a yellow flash, Naruto suddenly appears behind Buggy and delivers multiple punches to pressure points in his body. Buggy falls to the ground, unable to move. How? I've never been hurt by punches or slashes since I ate the chop fruit, Buggy says. Killing intent starts radiating from Naruto. If you want to live, then leave this town and never come back, Naruto says in a deep voice that just sounded like Kurama took over. Buggy's face paled, and so did the rest of his crews. Yes sir, we understand, Buggy says. Buggy's crew picks up Buggy and leaves the island on their ship. Naruto's eyes go back to normal and the killing intent stops. If you haven't eaten a devil fruit, then there's no way you're human, Nami says. There's nothing left here for us, let's get going, Zoro says. They leave on a small boat and head to the next island. Naruto falls asleep on the boat and he enters his mindscape, talking to Kurama. Kurama, how did I know how to use the fireball jutsu? As well as the flash technique and gentle fist style. My body just moved on instinct, Naruto says. I figured it's a fire jutsu you'd like to know since you've seen that Sasuke brat do it many times. I took a memory of him using it and replaced it with you. And for the gentle fist style, I took that Neji brat style of him using it and replaced it with you, as well as my information on the human body for pressure points, Kurama says. That doesn't make sense, but I'll trust you on that one. Wait, what about the flash technique? Naruto asks. That I'm not even sure myself, but if I had to take a guess, it would be your father's doing one way or another, Kurama says. Hagoromo phases into existence within Naruto's mindscape. Super Gramps Sage, Naruto exclaims. Naruto, my boy. I don't have the power to bring you back, but I can give you power and information about this world, Hagoromo says. What happened to the elemental nations? Naruto says. Sasuke carried on Madara's wishes by keeping the infinite Tsukuyomi still in play, killing the 5 Kage and then eventually himself, Hagoromo says. How much time passed there? Naruto asks. 50 years, Hagoromo says. 50 years. It's barely been 5 hours. Naruto exclaims. Time moves a lot differently here, Naruto. This world is many times bigger than the elemental nations. Oh, and one more thing. You might want this, Hagoromo says as he tosses the fox summoning contract to him. Have a nice life here, my son, Hagoromo says. Super Gramp Sage, wait, Naruto yells. Hagoromo glows blue and any chakra he has flows into Naruto, giving him every dojutsu, Kekkei Genkei, as well as information for all jutsu. All known fighting styles and basic information about the world of One Piece. Naruto gets a pull from his mind and wakes up to Luffy shaking him. Get up, we made it to the next island, Luffy says. Huh, oh, Naruto says, a little disorientated from the sudden influx of information. Naruto gets up rubbing his head and they walk onto land. Chapter 4, Usopp. A guy with a long nose looks down at them while aiming a slingshot. I am the great Captain Usopp, leader of the great pirates who reign over this village. If you think about attacking this village, then forget about it, because me and my 80 million men will quickly end your terror, Usopp says. He's lying, Naruto says. He knows. Usopp says with a panic. I sense 3 people. Children at that, Naruto says. 3 kids pop out of the bushes. He knows. The kids say simultaneously. Usopp continues aiming at them. Leave or I won't hesitate to shoot, Usopp says. Luffy's hat overshadows his eyes. Now that you've drawn your pistol, are you willing to use it, Luffy says. Usopp pales. Guns aren't for threats, they're for actions. Are you willing to risk your life? Luffy says. Zoro and Naruto seem to get the idea and smirks. Zoro draws his sword only slightly and Naruto flares his chakra slightly. I can assure you that we're real pirates, Zoro says. So consider your next move very carefully, Naruto says. 2 minutes of glaring at each other and then Usopp gives up and he drops to his knees. Real pirates have a lot more punch behind their words because they can actually back them up. That's so cool, Usopp says, feeling defeated. Luffy, Zoro and Naruto start laughing. I stole those lines, Luffy says. Huh, Usopp asks. I stole those words from red-haired Shanks, a pirate I know, Luffy says. What, you know red-haired Shanks? You really are a great pirate, Usopp says. Yeah, I know your dad too. His name is Usopp, right? Luffy asks. Usopp falls from the top of the cliff. Ow, you know my old man? Usopp asks. Yeah, he's part of Shanks' crew, Luffy says. Really? My old man is sailing the high seas with famous pirates. Usopp asks. Yeah, he's one heck of a sharp shooter. I bet he's still on the crew, Luffy says. Hey Usopp, was it? You know where we can find a bigger ship? Nami asks. Oh yeah, a friend of mine owns the shipbuilding company here, Usopp says. Sweet, Luffy says. Come on, I'll take you to her, Usopp says as he starts leading the way towards a giant mansion. Everyone follows. Usopp sneaks around the back expecting the other to do the same, but when he looked, the only other person sneaking was Nami. Usopp's face pales and he whispers aggressively. Get down. The butler here hates my guts and he most definitely doesn't take kindly to pirates, Usopp says. The rest of them start to sneak like Usopp except for Naruto. What are you doing, idiot? Nami asks. I don't need to be doing all this to be sneaky. There's no sound in my footsteps, Naruto says. Nami sighs. If we get caught, it's your fault, Nami says. Usopp tosses a rock that hits an upstairs window. The window opens and a very pale woman with whitish blonde hair looks out of it. Hey Kaya, Usopp says. Usopp, Kaya exclaims. Kaya glances at the rest of the Straw Hats plus Nami. Who are they? Kaya asks. These guys are my crew, Usopp says proudly. You were never invited into the, Naruto says as he was cut off by Usopp covering his mouth. Kaya giggles. I would invite you guys in like proper guests, but there's no way Klahadore would allow that. He's not a bad person though, Kaya says. Don't sweat it. Remember, I'm a brave warrior of the sea who likes endless oceans and wide open skies. Houses weren't made for people like me, Usopp says with a small laugh. So what story are you telling me about today? Kaya asks. Well, actually we came to see if we can get a discounted ship or maybe even one for free, Nami says. Suddenly Kaya's butler turns the corner. You there, a butler says. Klahadore, Kaya says in a soft tone. Get out. I'll have you know that this is criminal trespassing, Klahadore says as he readjusts his glasses with the palm of his hand. Usopp tenses. Well, actually Klahadore. These people are, Kaya says as she was cut off by Klahadore speaking. Not now Kaya, you can tell me about these riffraff after they have left. Now get out. All of you. Unless you have some business with me, Klahadore says. Alright, you think you can help us get a ship? Luffy asks. Naruto and Nami knock him on the top of his head at the same time. Read the room, idiot, Nami says. Certainly not, Klahadore says. Ow, Luffy groans. Usopp, Klahadore says as he readjusts his glasses with the palm of his hand. Crap, Usopp says in a panicked tone from behind the tree. That's Captain Usopp to you, Usopp says. Your father has somewhat of a reputation as well, Klahadore says. What? Usopp says in an angry tone. Klahadore, please just stop, Kaya says. You'll never be anything more than the son of a filthy pirate, Klahadore says as he readjusts his glasses with the palm of his hand. Luffy, Naruto and Zoro all glare at Klahadore. Who knows what sort of trouble you're up to now? All I ask is that you and your kind leave this respectable young lady alone, Klahadore says as he readjusts his glasses with the palm of his hand. A filthy pirate, Usopp says. Seize this at once, Klahadore. Apologize to him, Kaya says. Hey, calm down Kaya, Usopp says in a soft tone. I don't think there's any reason to apologize to this savage young man, my lady. I am merely stating the truth. You must hate your great idiot of a father for choosing to follow his mindless brain of treasure over his family and his village, Klahadore says as he readjusts his glasses with the palm of his hand. Klahadore, stop, Kaya says in a desperate tone. Don't you dare insult my father like that ever again, Usopp says as he jumps down from the tree and uses a grappling hook to slide down. Usopp stands in front of Klahadore looking angry as hell. Why are you getting so worked up, Usopp? I am merely stating a fact, Klahadore gets cut off by Usopp punching him in the face. The Straw Hats just watch while Kaya covers her mouth in shock. Klahadore hits the ground with a thud. Point proven. He resorts to violence. I guess the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, Klahadore says as he readjusts his glasses with the palm of his hand. Shut up, Usopp says. Klahadore flinches. My father listened to his heart. He chose a life of risk and adventure. I am proud to say that my old man is a brave warrior of the sea. I may exaggerate from time to time, but I will never lie about who my father is. I refuse to be ashamed of my heritage. I am the son of a pirate, Usopp says proudly. Klahadore chuckles. You don't seem to understand that you are living proof of his savage blood. You run around spouting lies and use violence when something doesn't go your way to top it off. You cozy up to the lady of the house to steal her fortune. If you ask me, that's just like a pirate, Klahadore says as he stands while he readjusts his glasses with the palm of his hand. You're wrong, I only, Usopp says as he's cut off by Klahadore yelling. Your father is a filthy no-good pirate, treachery is in your blood. Of course you would have such an evil scheme, Klahadore says. Usopp grabs him by the collar and cocks his hand back for another punch. Stop it, Usopp, please, Kaya says desperately. Naruto suddenly appears next to Usopp in a yellow flash and grabs his hand before he can land the punch. Look man, I wanna beat his ass too, but your girlfriend is watching and she doesn't want that. Just be considerate, Naruto says. Klahadore is shocked by Naruto's speed, but he doesn't show it. Usopp's grip loosens and Klahadore slaps his hand away. Naruto lets go of Usopp. Leave this place, you are never to come here again. Klahadore says. Yeah, I get it. You don't have to tell me twice, buddy, Usopp says. Usopp walked past him. This is the last you'll ever see of me, Usopp says. I'd assume that's another one of your lies, Klahadore says as he readjusts his glasses with the palm of his hand. Usopp ignores him as he leaves. Usopp, Kaya says to herself in a very soft tone. Klahadore glances at the straw hats. You will all leave immediately. Klahadore says as he readjusts his glasses with the palm of his hand. The straw hats eventually leave. 10 minutes later, the straw hats plus Nami are currently resting near a road under a tree. Hey, where did Luffy go? Nami asks. Who knows? He probably went to go talk to Long Nose, Zoro says. I'll go find him, Naruto says as he walks off. Chapter 4.5, Black Cat Pirates Incident. Minutes later, Naruto walks up to Luffy and Usopp talking. Luffy points to the bottom of the cliff. You mean that butler right there with some weird dude? Luffy asks. Yeah, that's the one. Wait, what in the world is he doing down there? Naruto sneaks up behind him. Shut up and listen, Naruto says as he covers Usopp's mouth. Before you kill her, you're gonna use your hypnosis to make Kaya write her will to leave all of her inheritance to me. I spent 3 long years to gain the trust of everyone around me, so it wouldn't be surprising for her to leave everything to me, Klahadore says. Well, that is quite the plan of yours, Captain Kuro. I mean, you are the man of 1,000 plans, the weirdo says. Don't call me that anymore, Django. I abandoned that name years ago, Klahadore Kuro says as he readjusts his glasses with the palm of his hand. The preparations are in play. Of the rich girl murder plan, Django says. Murder? Usopp whispers to himself. I simply just want to gain my wealth without the attention of the government, Klahadore Kuro says as he readjusts his glasses with the palm of his hand. In other words, I'm a pacifist, Klahadore Kuro says. Django laughs. Some pacifist you are. Killing an entire family doesn't exactly qualify as peaceful, Django says. Hold on, I haven't killed an entire family. The father's death wasn't planned, Klahadore Kuro says. Whatever you say makes no difference to me, he's dead and that's all that matters. Hurry up and give the signal, I wanna get this over with, the crew is getting bored. We've been waiting in the waters for over a week now, Django says. Usopp whispers to himself, this is bad. This is really, really bad, Usopp says. What are they talking about? Is it bad guy stuff? Luffy asks. Were you even listening? Both Luffy and Naruto ask simultaneously. Not really, Luffy admits. Naruto's eye twitches in annoyance. This is my captain, Naruto says. What's that supposed to mean? Luffy complains. Nothing, Naruto says. First they'll attack the village, then they'll kill Kaya. This is bad. This is seriously bad. Luffy stands. Hey, get down or they'll see you, Usopp says. Hey, you better stay away from that girl, Luffy yells down. Naruto covers his mouth and drags him down. Django and Klahadore Kuro look up at the cliff to see Usopp panicking. Good job not being seen, Long Nose, Naruto says. It wasn't my fault, it was your idiot Captain Who yelled at them. Usopp complains. Well now, if it isn't Usopp the town liar. Luffy and Naruto stands up as well. Did you hear anything? Klahadore Kuro says as he glares at them intently. What? No, we just got here, we didn't hear a thing, Usopp says in a panic. We heard it all, Luffy says. Idiot, Naruto whispers. Klahadore Kuro glances at Django and gestures to take care of them. Well, if you say so, Django says as he pulls something out of his pocket. Pay attention boys and watch this ring closely, Django says. Okay, both Naruto and Luffy say while Usopp turns away and hides behind the tree. By the count of Django you will be in a deep sleep, Django says. Naruto crosses his arms not believing it while Luffy pays attention closely. 1, 2. Django. Django says as he falls asleep, but so does Naruto and Luffy. Usopp looks at them confused as they start to lean forwards. "What are you guys doing? Y'all are gonna fall," Usopp says. They start to free fall. Kurama roars as loud as he can within Naruto, causing him to wake up. Naruto thinks quickly and pulls out a kunai, dragging it against the wall of the cliff to slow his fall. Naruto tries to grab Luffy, but his hand slips and Luffy hits the ground head first. "Damn it," Naruto says as he slowly slides down the cliff. He had to dive head first off the cliff. "A pity, really, I didn't mean to kill him. But there's no way he could have survived that height," Django says. "They killed him. He's really dead," Usopp says as he clenches his fist. "I'll handle this one," Clawhador Kuro says as he glares at Naruto as giant claws suddenly come from within his sleeves and attach to his fingers. "You may be a man of 1,000 plans, but I am a man of 1,000 techniques. If you hold back you'll surely die," Naruto says. Author says, "Yeah, okay." Kakashi Jr. LMAO. Clawhador Kuro's eye twitches in anger and annoyance. "You insolent child. You can't be any older than 16. Someone like you needs a lesson for playing pirate," Clawhador Kuro says as he readjusts his glasses with the palm of his hand. Clawhador Kuro disappears in a blur of speed and reappears behind Naruto ready to slash him. Naruto dodges effortlessly and backs away. "If you wanna hit me you gotta get a lot faster than that," Naruto says. Naruto starts to slowly circle Clawhador Kuro. "Illusionary technique. Rhythm echo," Naruto says as the background glows purple with multiple after images following his footsteps. Author says, "Yeah, I took it from Kahlua, so what lol, what is this? How are you doing that?" Clawhador Kuro asks. His vision starts to blur and become hazy the more after images Naruto makes. Clawhador Kuro passes out due to being lightheaded. Naruto suddenly appears behind Django and knocks him out with a chop to the neck. "Abracadabra bitch," Naruto says. Naruto picks up Luffy, who is completely unharmed but still asleep. "How the hell are you still sleeping after that fall?" Naruto says as he throws Luffy over his shoulder. Naruto senses that Usopp ran away not long ago, so he activates 6-path Sage mode, but then the normal yellow glow fades to gray and then turns a light blue. "I guess that's the Sage mode in play," Naruto says. Naruto activates his flight and flies but up to the top of the cliff, then deactivates his 6-path Sage mode. Naruto runs to where he senses Usopp. Naruto runs past the Straw Hats plus Nami. "No time to explain, follow me now," Naruto says as he continues running. The rest of them follow him until they make it back to Kaya's mansion. Naruto jumps to the top of the window sill behind Usopp. "Everything he's telling you is real, Miss Kaya. You don't have to run, but if you hide then me and the rest of my crew will deal with them before anyone gets hurt, I swear to you," Naruto says. "Fine, I believe you," Kaya says. "Zoro, you stay here and protect Kaya. I'll handle the rest of the goons," Naruto says. "What? You by yourself against a bunch of vicious pirates? Do you have a death wish?" "That's suicide," both Nami and Usopp say simultaneously. "I'll be fine. Believe me," Naruto says. The next morning, Naruto walks to the shore right before daybreak. "They'll be here," Naruto says to himself. The sun rises just as a pirate ship arrives. Clawhador Kuro is the first one off the ship and then Django follows him. Well, if it isn't the child. You may have beaten me in a one-on-one, but there's no way you'll win against my entire crew by yourself," Clawhador Kuro says as he readjusts his glasses with the palm of his hand with a smirk on his face. Naruto doesn't say anything, instead he just walks towards them with his hair overshadowing his face. "Myoban brothers attack him," Clawhador Kuro says. The two of them charge Naruto, claws poised to attack. Asterisk in the blink of an eye Naruto suddenly appears behind the two then continues walking forward as the two Myoban brothers drop dead. The rest of the crew is completely shocked. He just killed our triumph cards in an instant. Django says, "This guy is dangerous. What's a guy like him doing here?" One of the crew members says. Naruto continues walking towards them. The rest of the crew is scared shitless. Naruto activates his six-path sage mode and starts glowing his light blue. "What the hell is he?" Klahadore says. "Your worst nightmare," Naruto says as he suddenly appears in between the crew. The entire crew's face changes to a look of dread as they freeze in fear. Wood style, cutting sprigs jutsu. Wooden stakes leave Naruto's palms and impales each crew member. Naruto does a Hitsuji hand sign and the stakes expand within their bodies causing internal damage as they die instantly. Naruto throws each and every one of them back onto the boat they came from and uses a wind jutsu to push it out to sea, then uses a lightning jutsu to sink it, then deactivates his six-path sage mode. "Man, it's hard keeping my past life a secret from everyone else when it's so obvious that you're different. I wonder how I'll explain things if someone were to find out," Naruto says. Naruto walks away and heads back to the mansion, but halfway there he stops. "Oh my fucking god. We could have used their ship. I'm such an idiot," Naruto says as he pulls at his hair. Naruto makes it back to the mansion. "Oh, you're back," Nami says. "Did they run in fear or did you kill them?" Zoro asks. "They are all dead," Naruto says. "Did they have any treasure on their ship?" Nami asks with dollar signs for eyes. "No, they didn't," Naruto says. "Well, what about their ship?" Nami asks. I sank it," Naruto says while rubbing the back of head. "You did what?" Nami says as she hits Naruto on the top of his head. Naruto groans in pain. "Ow," Naruto says. Kaya giggles. "It's okay, I can provide you guys a ship," Kaya says. "Really? Thanks, lady," Luffy says. Kaya leads them to the ship. "You guys can have this one. Her name is the Going Merry," Kaya says. "Awesome," Luffy yells out. The Straw Hats plus Nami board the ship. "You guys take care. I hope we meet again sometime," Usopp says. "How come?" Luffy says. "Well, I'm setting off to the high seas and I hope we will eventually meet again," Usopp says. "What are you talking about?" Zoro asks. "Get on the ship, idiot," Naruto says. "We're friends, right?" Luffy asks. "Wait, really? Heck yeah, I'm finally a pirate captain now." Usopp yells. "Don't be stupid, Usopp, I'm the captain," Luffy says. The rest laugh. Usopp hops onto the ship and they set sail. "Hey guys, I think it's about time we have a pirate mark since now we have 4 members, so I made this, what do you think?" Luffy says as he holds up a deformed skull with a crooked straw hat. "That's gonna be our mark?" Zoro asks. "Well, you might not know this, but I'm somewhat of an artist myself," both Naruto and Usopp say simultaneously. Usopp and Naruto glare at each other. "Fine, you can have it. I have too much on my plate already," Naruto says. Usopp makes the signature straw hat flag. "All done," Usopp says. "Awesome." Luffy says. "It's a bit basic, but if the captain likes it then it will do," Naruto says. "Why you?" Usopp says with an irritated expression. "Okay guys, calm down. It's not that serious," Nami says. Naruto and Luffy's stomach growls. They look at each other and laugh. "Hey Nami, is there any place where we can get some food?" "I'm starving," Luffy says. "There's actually a sea restaurant not far from here," Nami says. "Awesome. Full speed ahead to the sea restaurant," Luffy says. Chapter 5. Sanji. An hour later they make it to the sea restaurant named Barati. They all walk inside. "This place is so classy," Nami says. "Tell me about it," Naruto says. The crew sits down at an open booth seating area. Shortly after, a yellow-haired guy in a suit and an unlit cigarette in his mouth walks up. "My name is Sanji and I'll be attending you today. I'm not a waiter, I'm the sous chef, so don't treat me as such, Sanji says as he glances at Nami. Oh hello there mademoiselle. What an irresistible beauty you are. My lady, would you care to join me elsewhere for a glass of wine? Sanji asks. Not a chance pretty boy, Nami says. Very well then, shall we start with some drinks? Sanji asks. Just bring us all a beer, Zoro says. Dude, I'm 16, I'm not drinking that nasty ass shit, Naruto says. You're a pirate, just drink it, Zoro says. Just bring me something non-alcoholic, Naruto says. Appetizers, Sanji asks. Just bring whatever you cook yourself. You look like a good cook. We're starving, Naruto says. Naruto notices a glint in Sanji's eyes as he walks away and heads to the kitchen. Naruto smirks. I have a good feeling about him, Naruto says. 45 minutes later and Sanji comes back with plates of food. Enjoy, Sanji says. This looks delicious, Luffy says. The rest at the table agrees. Luffy is the first to start eating as he basically absorbs everything he sees. Naruto and the rest of the crew protects their food from his antics. A second later Naruto's food is gone. Man, that was delicious, Naruto says. Wait, you finished already? When did you even start eating? Nami asks. Naruto laughs nervously. Half an hour later they all finish eating and Sanji walks over handing them the bill. You're a really good cook. You should join my crew, Luffy says. Sanji laughs. Haha no, Sanji says. But why not? Luffy asks. The head chef here may be a pain in the ass all the damn time, and he may not appreciate me or my cooking, but I owe that man my life and I will stay here until he croaks. Sanji leaves and heads back to the kitchen. Give me the bill, I'll pay, Nami says. Good, because I'm flat out broke, Naruto says. Same here, Usopp and Zoro say simultaneously. The kitchen door slams open with Sanji walking out of it while the head chef yells at him. Quitting is staying here. You've been whining about findin' the all blue since you were a snotty-nosed lil brat, but you can't do that if you're wasting your life here, the head chef named Zeph says. Maybe I'll go with the straw hat, he already offered me a spot on the crew, Sanji says. What? You want my permission? You got it, Zeph says in an irritated tone. Fine, Sanji yells. Fine, Zeph yells. Fine, Sanji yells. Zeph slams the kitchen door closed. Sanji walks over to the straw hats. So, we have our fifth member? Naruto asks. I'll take you up on that offer, straw hat, Sanji says. Sweet, Luffy says. Suddenly the restaurant door flies open and in comes three fishmen. Which of you goes by the name Naruto of the Straw Hats? The leader of the three named Arlong says. Naruto stands as Nami hides her face. Who's asking? Naruto says boldly. What the hell are you doing? He'll kill you, Nami whispers. Name's Arlong the Saw. Even the Marines flee before my flag. I own the East Blue, Arlong says. You guys stay here, Naruto says as he removes himself from the table. What business do you have with me? Naruto says as walks over to him. You're nothing but a child, yet I heard so much about you. I was expecting someone, I don't know, bigger, Arlong says. How'd you find me? Naruto asks. Arlong clicks his teeth and the other fishman takes something out of his bag. Out comes Buggy the clown's head. Hey there Fishcake, did you miss me? Buggy asks. You, Naruto says as he glares at Buggy. Buggy flinches and closes his eyes. You fear this child? How pathetic, Arlong says. How do you even know how to find me? Naruto asks. I've got eyes and ears everywhere, Buggy says as an ear flies out of Luffy's hat and flies towards Buggy. Naruto catches the ear out of mid-air and holds it in his fist. Ow ow ow. Let go, Buggy says. Naruto increases his grip strength with his chakra control. Buggy's ear hole starts bleeding, then Naruto lets go as the ear drops to the ground. People like you piss me off. You must not have remembered what I told you, Naruto says. Hey, it wasn't my idea, Buggy says. The fishman grabs Buggy's head and puts him back in the bag. I want my map and half of whatever treasure you own. And if you bow down to me I might even let you serve in my kingdom, Arlong says. I bow down to no one but my captain, Naruto says. Then give me my map of the Grand Line, Arlong says. You'll have to fight me for it, Naruto says. Then let the fight begin, Arlong says. Naruto disappears in a yellow flash and reappears behind Zeph, who's holding a gun to Arlong's back. Naruto snatches the gun away from him. If you don't want these guys to kill you then let me handle it, Naruto says. Arlong is surprised by Naruto's speed. You're pretty fast. For a human, Arlong says. Let's take this outside, Naruto says as he walks towards the door. Nami pays the bill then follows behind them with the rest of the crew. Arlong gets ready to fight. Arlong. Nami says. Arlong glances at her. Ah, if it isn't Sister Nami, Arlong says. Let's not waste our time on trash, let's go, Nami says as she walks past them. Fine, you got lucky today, boy. Consider your life spared, Arlong says. Nami's face is completely neutral, maybe even condescending, but Naruto notices her eyes have a hint of pain and fear behind them that just screams help. Very well then. We will meet again, Naruto says. Real soon, Naruto whispers under his breath. She's just gonna up and abandon us like that? Usopp asks. She was never part of the crew. But the time we spent together couldn't have meant nothing to her, Luffy says. That's why we're gonna find him and kick his ass. That way Nami will be free of him, Naruto says. Everybody on board. We're getting Nami back, Luffy says. They set sail and towards the direction they last saw Arlong go. Chapter 6. Nami. They continue sailing till they reach an island about an hour later. The five of them hop off the ship. Hey look, there's Nami, Usopp says. Nami is walking away from the village and towards what looks like the island that Arlong lives on. Should we follow her? Zoro asks. No, we should gather info first, Naruto says. Luffy walks over to a guy with a scarred face. Hey scar face guy, who is that girl? You know, with the orange hair, Luffy asks. Who wants to know? Scar guy asks. My name is Monkey D. Luffy. I'm a pirate, Luffy says as he gets cut off by Zoro. Hunter. Pirate hunter. And we're here to collect Arlong's bounty, Zoro says. I've seen men twice your size and twice your number going to Arlong Park and none of them made it out alive, Scar guy says. We just wanna talk to her, Luffy says. Trust me you don't, but if it'll get you out of my town then try the house down the road. On the edge of the Tangerine Grove, Scar guy says. Thanks, Luffy says with a smile. They walk down the road and eventually make it to the house. Right before Luffy could knock, the door suddenly opens and a woman points a gun to Luffy's head. Whoa, Usopp says as he hides behind Zoro. Turn around and leave, the woman says. That's what I've been saying, Usopp says. I think you and I may have something in common, Luffy says. I've got the gun and you're standing in front of it, what could we possibly have in common? The woman asks. Let's start with Nami, Luffy says. She's a thief with no conscience. Nothing more and nothing less, now get off my property before I blow your head off, the woman says. She's our friend, we're not giving up on her that easily, Luffy says. My sister doesn't have any friends, the woman says. Zoro and Naruto's interest was piqued when they heard sister. Sisters. That makes sense. Just as beautiful as the other, Sanji says. Naruto jabs his side with his elbow. Give it up, Zoro says. You're not special and I can't help you, the woman says. How about a meal? Sanji says. You a cook? The woman asks. He's a waiter, Zoro says. He's a really good cook, both Luffy and Naruto say simultaneously. Ain't got much to cook with, she says. You'd be surprised what I can do with few options. What do you say? Sanji asks. Fine, she says as she puts the gun down. They all walk inside. 20 minutes later Sanji finishes cooking and puts a bowl of food in front of her. She starts eating. Oh my god, it's so good, she says. There's plenty more where that came from. But first we really need to know about Nami, Sanji says. The day the Arlong pirates raided, our mother was killed by Arlong. Ever since that day Nami betrayed us for whatever reason is in her mind and I hate her for it, the woman says. Nami isn't like that, Naruto says while leaning against the wall with his arms crossed. You don't know her the way I do, she says. Exactly, I know her better, Naruto says. Naruto, shut up, now's not the time for that, Zoro says. There's something about this whole situation that just feels off. Nami is hiding something and it's not for a negative reason because I never sensed even a hint of malicious intent within her, Naruto says. So what you're saying is that Nami is not a bad person like Arlong and his crew, correct? Luffy asks. Yes, Naruto says. Someone screams in pain while yelling Arlong's name. Naruto is the first to react and instantly runs out the door and towards the screams. Naruto quickly approaches Nami, which looks like her third time stabbing herself in her arm while screaming Arlong's name, and he grabs her wrist before she could do it again. Nami slowly turns to look at him. You should have never came, Nami says as she drops the knife. Naruto just looks at her disapprovingly. Leave. You don't know anything that's going on here, Nami says with tears in her eyes. We won't, Naruto says as the rest of the crew walks up. Nami looks at them with a look of awe and admiration. Please, help me, Nami says with tears running down her face. Luffy places his straw hat on her head as he walks towards the village. Let's go, Luffy says commandingly. Right, Naruto, Zoro, Sanji and Usopp all say simultaneously. The five of them walk to Arlong Park with the aura of confidence. They walk up to two fishmen guards blocking the entrance. Step aside, Luffy says. Or what pathetic humans. One of the fishmen said as he was cut off by Naruto doing an Uchiha split kick, spinning both of their heads causing broken necks and instant deaths. Luffy breaks the wall down with a couple of punches causing a shock to Arlong and the rest of the fishmen. What the? Arlong says. Now where is Arlong? Luffy shouts. Right here, Arlong says with his feet kicked up. Hold on, if you wanna speak with Arlong you have to deal with us first, two fishmen say as they step in front of Luffy. Luffy smashes their heads together, knocking them out. Arlong's eyes widened slightly in shock. What do you want, boy? I thought I spared you and your friends' lives earlier today. Come to die, Arlong says. Luffy punches Arlong, sending him flying. The rest of the fishmen were greatly shocked. Arlong glares at him in shock and anger. What the hell are you? I've never ran into a human who can hit as hard as you before, Arlong says as he wipes his blood from his lip. How dare you insult Arlong, the fishmen say as they charge Luffy. Sanji kicks them all away. Back off, you're out of your league, Sanji says as he glares at the fishmen, then walks next to Luffy. You just had to run ahead, huh? I don't want you hogging all the action, Sanji says. Last I checked Arlong was my fight, remember, at Baratie, Naruto says as he walks up with his hands in his pockets. I don't mind if you guys hog all the action, Usopp says in a shaky voice. I see you're raring to go as usual, Zoro says. Naruto, Arlong says as he glares at him. Arlong, Naruto says as he glares at him. You guys go have some fish food, I'll deal with Arlong, Naruto says as he walks towards Arlong with his hands in his pockets. A mere human stands no chance against me, let alone a child. Arlong says as he is cut off by Naruto kicking his jaw, dislocating it and knocking him back. You talk too much, Naruto says as he lands on the ground in front of Arlong. You insolent child, Arlong says as he fixes his jaw. Calm down. Kurama, Naruto says as he glares at Arlong with red and fox-like slits for pupils. You can't be human. Who are you? Arlong asks with a fearful expression. Zoro notices the look in his eyes. People like you piss me off. And because of that I'll show you no mercy, Naruto says as he does hand signs. Naruto's hand becomes engulfed in lightning that sounds like 1,000 chirping birds as the sky becomes dark and covered in thunder clouds. Naruto raises his hand as thunder clouds respond as if he's taming lightning itself. What is this power? Sanji asks. I thought I told you to pay attention, the fish that Sanji is fighting says as he hits him and sends him flying. Kirin, Naruto says as he throws his hand down. A dragon made of pure lightning flies down and hits Arlong directly. Arlong screams in pain. This isn't the power of a human. Does he have a devil fruit? Arlong thought. Naruto walks towards him. I need to throw him into the sea, Arlong thought. Naruto stands in front of Arlong and looks down upon him condescending. Arlong suddenly hits him and sends him flying towards the water. Even if it didn't look like it, Naruto managed to dodge it completely but acted like he got hit, which sent him flying. Got him this time, Arlong says as he laughs while Naruto is above the water. Naruto uses his chakra control to stand on top of the water. Everyone in the area is shocked. What? How? Arlong, Usopp, Zoro, Sanji, and the rest of the remaining fishmen all say simultaneously. Awesome! Luffy yells. Naruto flares his chakra as he walks towards Arlong. He's no human, he's God incarnate. Arlong says. This kid is some kind of demon, Zoro says. You wanna play with water, I'll give you something colder, Naruto says as he holds his hand out at Arlong. Naruto manipulates the water, turning it into ice spears, and they shoot out at Arlong with undodgeable speeds. Naruto then runs towards him as he charges up a Chidori. Naruto shoves the Chidori through Arlong, killing him. Naruto stands and looks towards the rest of the crew. Chapter 6.5 Naruto's Backstory. Usopp cowers in fear while Zoro holds a sword to his throat. Wanna tell me what the hell you are? Zoro says. Zoro put the sword away, Luffy says. Zoro does so. Naruto's eyes return to their normal azure blue color. Explain, Luffy says as he looks towards Naruto. I'm not necessarily a demon, however I do have one sealed within me, Naruto says. How does that work? Zoro asks. Usopp is hiding behind Sanji. Nami walks up after hearing that the fighting stopped. You guys did it. You won, Nami yells. The crew turns to look at her. Why so gloomy? Nami asks. The crew turns their attention back to Naruto and Nami reads the room, eventually doing the same. This may sound hard to believe, but I'm not from this world, but even so my body has already adapted to the main source of power this world has to offer, Naruto says. What do you mean by, not from this world? Nami asks. Simply put, I'm from a different universe, Naruto says. So what are you? Zoro asks. I'm what's called a Jinchuriki, Naruto says. A Jin what now? Luffy asks. Power of human sacrifice. Sanji asks. Yes, that's the literal meaning, Naruto says. So you're the host of a demon. What's it like? Zoro asks. Is it dangerous? Usopp asks in a fearful tone. Can it get loose? Nami asks. Can I talk to it? Luffy asks. The rest of the crew look at Luffy like he's crazy except for Naruto. Sure, Naruto says. The rest of the crew steps back in fear besides Luffy, who steps up in anticipation. Is that a good idea? Sanji asks. Naruto's eyes turn red with fox-like slits as his whisker-like birthmarks become more defined to signify that Kurama is in control. What's up, brats? Kurama says in his deep demonic voice. Hey Mr. Demon, what's your name? Luffy asks. Kurama, he says. Nice to meet you, Luffy says. He really has a demon inside of him, Usopp says. Oh relax you big baby, Nami says. So how long have you been inside of Naruto here? Zoro asks. Ever since the day of his birth on October 10th. You see, I was manipulated and controlled to attack his village the day of his birth, so I ended up fighting his father. I ended up killing his mother and father, but in the end his father still sealed me away into his newborn son, aka Naruto. Shortly before dying, Kurama says. So he grew up an orphan, never knowing his birth parents personally. That's so sad, Usopp says. Actually, he grew up not knowing what a loving parent or even a friend was. Naruto here has been through a lot growing up, however it's not my place to tell you exactly what. It was only until he turned 12 his life started to get a little better, but then he was sent here on his 16th birthday right after a world war had ended. Just know he cherishes you guys dearly and will do anything to protect you guys. He thinks of you all as true friends, Kurama says. They all smile at that. I'm leaving now. It was nice talking to you bunch, Kurama says. Naruto's eyes and whiskers return to their normal appearance. See, he's not so bad, right? Naruto asks. They all shake their heads. So is everything cleared up? Any questions, comments or concerns? Naruto asks. I have a feeling that you're hiding your true strength. What all can you do? Zoro asks. I believe almost anything, Naruto says. Can you use a sword? Zoro asks. Technically yes, but I have never trained to, Naruto says. You said your body adapted to the main source of power our world has to offer. What was the main source of power your world had to offer? Sanji asks. It's called chakra, Naruto says. What can you do with this chakra of yours? Zoro asks. I can do elemental-based techniques, walk up walls, walk on water, summon foxes, control the intensity of my killing intent. And use seals that have the power to do almost anything if I do it correctly, and more of whatever I can't think of right now, Naruto says. That's awesome. So you're like what, a ninja? Luffy asks excitedly. Yeah, I am, Naruto says. Can you show us your cool techniques? Throw some shuriken for me and do things like fire and earth, oh and water too, Luffy says with so much enthusiasm. Say nin nin and do some ninja magic, Usopp says. Naruto steps back. Hey, you ever gone out with a kunoichi? A lady ninja? Usopp asks. You can do the shadow clone technique, can't you? Zoro asks in sheer curiosity. Summon a giant frog and ride on its back, Usopp says. Naruto. Luffy shouts. Naruto. Usopp shouts. What's the hold up? Just do it already, Zoro says. Okay, just calm down for a second. We're all part of the same crew, you'll see them eventually. I need to rest as I used up a lot of my chakra, Naruto lies. Then all of a sudden they are cut off by a couple of world government Marys walking up. Okay, hold it right there. The leader says. Nezumi. Nami says. What a lucky day today is. Your victory here must have been a fluke. I never would have expected Arlong to be defeated by a bunch of nameless pirates. However, now that Arlong is out of the picture, I will be taking all of the money and treasure in Arlong Park. Colonel Nezumi of branch number 16 gets all the credit, Nezumi says as he was cut off by the Straw Hats beating him and the rest of the guards up. Nami walks up to him and touches his face. This is for destroying Belmir's tangerine orchard, Nami says as she kicks him in the face, sending him skidding across the water. Nezumi swims back to the surface. Nami pulls on Nezumi's whiskers. Don't you dare touch anything in Arlong Park, all the money and valuables belong to the island. Nami yells. Yes ma'am, anything you say, Nezumi says. And one more thing. Give me my damn money back, you jerk. Nami yells. I'll give it back, I promise, I swear, Nezumi says. Nezumi swims away yelling. I'll get you, you pirates. Luffy is your captain, right? Mark my words, you damn pirates. Major things are gonna happen, you hear? Major things. I swear you'll regret this, just you wait and see, Nezumi yells as he swims away into the distance. Major things are gonna happen. Sanji asks. Yeah, how does he know I'm gonna be king of the pirates? Luffy asks. That's not what he means at all. Are you really that dumb? Nami asks. Naruto laughs. Hey, are we in super big trouble or what? Hey, what do we do? Usopp shouts. Naruto glances at Nami. You should go tell everyone that Arlong Park has fallen. They probably all think that Arlong is still in control or something, Naruto says. Yeah, you're right. Nami runs off. Naruto looks towards the rest of the crew. Let's go. We can wait for Nami on the ship, Naruto says. But she's not on the crew, Usopp says. Naruto glances at Luffy. She'll come. I know it, Luffy says. They all head to the ship and wait for Nami. An hour later Nami hops onto the ship. Thanks for waiting for me, Nami says. Alright, let's get going to the Grand Line now. Luffy yells. Yeah. Naruto, Zoro, Sanji, Usopp, and Nami all say simultaneously. They set sail. Chapter 7. Entering the Grand Line. Half a day later. I'm hungry. We have to get some food. Let's find a nearby island, Luffy says. There's an island nearby called Logatown. Should we go there? Nami asks. There's no need, Naruto says. What? How come? Luffy asks. Naruto pulls up the sleeve on his left arm and reveals a storage seal on his wrist. What's that tattoo? Is it one of those seals you told us about? Nami asks. Yeah, you'll see, Naruto says. The rest of the crew looks intrigued. Luffy, what do you want to eat? Meat. A lot of it, Luffy says. Very well, Naruto says as bites his thumb, drawing blood and wipes it on the seal. A bunch of hot and cooked meat appears in a puff of smoke. Luffy immediately starts feasting. Sanji, you're free to take some of this to cook dinner for everyone tonight, Naruto says. Will do, Sanji says as he grabs some of the meat and heads towards the kitchen. To the Grand Line, Luffy says with his mouth full. Papers are flying through the air, some landing in the water. What are those? Nami asks. Naruto jumps onto the surface of the water using chakra control and picks up 6 of the papers. Naruto jumps back onto the ship. Guys, take a look at this, Naruto says. The crew gathered round. Bounties. Nami yells. Of all of us. Usopp says. Naruto, the demon fox of the sea. Bounty, 40 million. Luffy, the straw hat rubber menace. Bounty, 30 million. Zoro, the demon swordsman. Bounty, 20 million. Sanji, Blackfoot Sanji. Bounty, 18 million. Nami, the cat burglar. Bounty, 3 million. Usopp, the sniper king. Bounty, 3 million. That's awesome. Luffy yells. No, that's terrible. Now the government and bounty hunters will be after all of us. Nami yells. Why the hell is Mosshead's bounty bigger than mine? Sanji yells. Shut up, number 4, Zoro says. You're not doing any better, number 3, Luffy says while laughing. Shut up. You're the captain and don't even have the highest bounty, Zoro yells. Wait, someone is higher than mine. Luffy asks. Were you not listening? Nami asks. Mine is higher, Naruto says. What? That's not fair, Luffy complains. We should get some sleep after we eat. It's getting dark, Naruto says. Everyone agrees. The next morning. There's a storm nearby. In the direction of the Grand Line entrance, Naruto says. Nami is looking at the Grand Line map. Nami, what's wrong? Zoro asks. The entrance to the Grand Line is a mountain, Nami says. What? How do we get the ship to the other side? Luffy asks. There's little canals that go up the mountain, Nami says. That sounds fun, Luffy says. Last I checked, ships don't climb mountains, Zoro says. There it is. The mystery mountain, Luffy says. It's called Reverse Mountain, idiot, Nami yells. The storm rolls in. Uh-oh, Nami says. The Going Merry gets caught in a current. We're getting sucked in. Keep the rudder steady. Luffy yells. Nami, where's that opening in the mountain you were talking about? Zoro asks. Straight ahead, both Naruto and Nami say simultaneously. You can't be serious. Alright, fine, Zoro says as he starts to turn the ship around. What the hell are you doing? Naruto asks. You guys said behind, Zoro says. We're gonna crash, Nami yells. Gum gum balloon, Luffy says as he blows up into a large balloon shielding the ship from crashing and redirecting it into the canal. Luffy starts to fall. Naruto jumps off the ship and catches him before he falls into the water. Naruto throws a marked kunai at the ship as it flows up the mountain as he carries Luffy while water walking. Flying Raijin, Naruto says as he disappears in a yellow flash reappearing on the ship. That was close, Nami says. Everyone glares at Zoro. What? Zoro asks in a defensive tone. You're forbidden from entering the control room, everyone yells simultaneously. But, Zoro says, trying to defend himself. Everyone yells. Zoro sighs. Luffy is the first to come back to his senses. Whoa, look how high we are. We're in the clouds, Luffy yells. We're not in the clouds. We're above them. Naruto yells. Naruto and Luffy start laughing. We've done it. We're entering the Grand Line. Nami says. The One Piece is out here somewhere and we're gonna find it, Luffy says. Arc. Grand Line Chapter 8. Laboon. Guys, I see a mountain up ahead, Sanji says. A loud groan occurs. What was that? Nami says. That's not a mountain, Naruto says. It's a whale. Hard left, Nami yells. Hard left. The rest of the crew copies. Everyone but Zoro, Naruto and Nami pushes the rudder left. Should I just kill it? Naruto states. Everyone looks at him in disbelief. Don't attack it unless it attacks us, you idiot, Nami says. Fine, Naruto says. The ship turns left avoiding the whale. Naruto glances up at the whale, noticing two individuals climbing it. What are those two doing? Naruto thought. One of them drops their climbing tool and it pokes the whale in the eye. The whale looks directly at the Straw Hat's ship. Usopp and Nami cowers in fear. Zoro and Sanji get in fighting stances out of fear. Naruto and Luffy get ready for a fight with a smirk on their faces. The whale swallows them whole. We're gonna die, Nami and Usopp scream in sync with their eyes closed while holding each other. Will you two quit it and look around, Zoro says annoyed. Everyone looks around, seeing an open sky and an island nearby. There, shoot the cannon there. Now, Usopp says. No, there's someone coming out, Sanji says. Guys, I found a door. I would say that's the way out, Naruto says. How could that be? There's nothing but sky, Nami says. No, look closer. The clouds nor the birds are moving, Sanji says. It's all painted, Naruto says. Call it a doctor's playful mind, the man on the island says. Shut up, Usopp yells. All this shit could go to hell. I'm gonna kill that man and this big ass whale, Naruto yells. Nami smacks him on the top of his head. Calm down. Let's just get out of here through that door and the rest of this will all be over, Nami says. They sail the ship to the door without any problems and make it out. We're out, Usopp yells. The whale starts hitting its head against the red line. What is it doing that for? Nami asks. Looks like it's suffering, Naruto says. It's not our problem, so let's go, Zoro says. Wait, I have a bad feeling, Naruto says. Two individuals fall from the top of the whale and onto the ship. Luffy picks up an odd-looking compass. We really should be getting going now, Nami says. What do we do with these two? Naruto asks. Just throw them off the ship, Nami says. Naruto does just that with a smirk on his face. Nami pulls out a compass to get ready to leave. The compass just keeps spinning. Nami screams at the top of her lungs and in a yellow flash Naruto is instantly next to her trying to figure out what the problem is. Nami, what's wrong? Naruto asks. The compass is broken, Nami says in distress. That's not good, Naruto says. That's like letting Zoro lead the way. Usopp says. The two that was previously thrown off the ship climbs back on. What do you guys want? Naruto says. My name is Mr. 9 and next to me is Miss Wednesday. Please, we beg of you, please take us home. The island of Whiskey Peak, the guy of the two known as Mr. 9 says. We can't go anywhere with a broken compass. Nami yells. Ma'am, we have a special compass exclusive for the Grand Line, Mr. 9 says. Just as long as you promise to take us home we can provide it for you, Miss Wednesday says. Yes, we promise, Nami says in anticipation. Mr. 9 looks for it as his face falls in fear. It's gone. Mr. 9 yells in fear. We're screwed, Nami says. Are you guys talking about this? Luffy says as he holds up a log pose. Yes, that's it, Mr. 9 yells. Nami snatches it from him. Why didn't you say you had one sooner? Nami says as she hits him on the top of the head. Ow, I just found it. What did you hit me for? Luffy complains. I just felt like it, Nami says. Oh okay, Luffy says. Mr. 9 and Miss Wednesday wait in anticipation. Fine, you guys can ride with us. You said your home is Whiskey Peak, right? Yeah, we'll go there, Luffy says. Well, you're the captain so I'm gonna trust your judgment here, Naruto says. Same here, Zoro says. Set sail to Whiskey Peak. Luffy says. They do so. There's a rainstorm nearby, Naruto states. But it's a nice clear day out, Nami says as her smile fades as clouds and lightning roll in. Hey Zoro. Let me borrow one of those swords, Naruto says. Zoro tosses him a blade. Naruto coats the sword in wind chakra and cuts the sky in half, fixing the crazy weather. Luffy and Zoro stare in awe as the rest stare in disbelief. How did you do that? Zoro asks. It's not something just anyone can do, Naruto says as he gives Zoro his blade back. He probably used his chakra he spoke of, Zoro thought. Chapter 9. Whiskey Peak. Hours later and they all see an island full of cacti. There it is, Whiskey Peak, Luffy says. It's certainly an odd sight, Sanji says. Thanks for the ride but we will be taking our leave now, Miss Wednesday says as they both backflip off the ship and swim towards the island. That was certainly an exit, Nami says. Who cares, let's go explore the island, Luffy says. Fog rolls in. What if there are monsters on the island? Usopp asks. So, we'll deal with it when the time comes. As of now there's no need to worry, Luffy says. I agree, Naruto says and the rest of them nod in agreement. We're gonna die, Usopp thought. The fog slowly disperses showing a bunch of people cheering and welcoming them to the Grand Line. Naruto's eyes narrow slightly at feeling so much negative and ill intentions in one place despite their cheering and welcoming external view. I guess some folks consider pirates as heroes. I should have came here ages ago, Usopp says. Hey everybody, Luffy yells while laughing. They dock the ship. I don't like this place, Naruto says. Oh come on, live a little, Usopp says as he pats him on the back. My name is Igarappoi. I'm the mayor of Whiskey Peak, he says. Oh hey, nice to meet you. I'm Luffy, nice hair. I like your curls, Luffy says. Hospitality is a matter of pride in our town. What do you say we throw you a party in honor of your arrival so we may hear your tales of adventure, Igarappoi says. We be glad to. Sanji, Usopp and Luffy all shout in sync. Idiots, Nami and Naruto say in sync. Now, let's prepare to party. Sing and prepare drinks to entertain our guests and adventurous tales, Igarappoi says. Time skips an hour later. Naruto leans against the wall with his arms crossed, not participating in said party. Sanji is surrounded by girls. Zoro and Nami are in a drinking contest together. Usopp is spreading his outlandish tales with a cup of wine in his hand. Luffy is downing food like he hasn't eaten in days. This is truly a fun-filled night. It pleases me that you are all enjoying the celebration with such vigor, Igarappoi says while laughing. A couple hours later at sunset and every single Straw Hat member falls asleep, well except for Naruto, Zoro and Nami, that is, since they never let their guard down and is just fake sleep. Igarappoi walks outside. So where are they? Mr. 8 and Miss Wednesday asks. They've fallen. Straight to hell, Igarappoi says. A nun walks out of the restaurant. Damn, my head is killing me. Our guest did not have the good taste to pass out gracefully, so I laced their drinks and food a little. Otherwise they'd be partying all damn night, the nun says. The nun removes her clothes to reveal a very muscular woman in a skirt. Why did we have to waste food on them when we could have just taken them out at the harbor? We're already short on supplies. It's not like we had our hopes up for the whale meat, the nun says. Hey, you try killing the damn whale then, Miss Monday, Mr. 9 yells. Calm down and look at this. I checked them beforehand, Igarappoi says as he pulls out all of their bounties. What? 114 million berries is a crew, the three of them say in sync. For those morons, Mr. 9 says. Don't be foolish, appearances can be deceiving. That goes for all of you, Igarappoi says. I'm sorry, Miss Monday says. Doesn't matter, our prey has been trapped. And that's news the boss will enjoy. For now just take everything of value off their ship, Igarappoi says. So what do we do with them now? Miss Monday asks. Kill them, Mr. 9 says. Killing them would drop the bounties down by 30%. Now go. I want them alive, Igarappoi says. Hey. Sorry to interrupt, Zoro says while standing on the roof as the four of them become shocked. But would you mind letting our friends sleep? Naruto says as he sits on the roof leaning his back on Zoro's leg and eyes closed. They had quite a long day, Zoro says. The door opens. Hey Mr. 8, Miss Monday, three of them escaped when we weren't looking. Some random guy with a gun says. They are right here on the roof, Miss Wednesday says as she scoffs. You two should have stayed sleep with your friends, Igarappoi says. A good swordsman never makes the mistake of letting his guard down, Zoro says. I could say the same about a good shinobi, Naruto thought. Judging by the weapons and cheap disguises, I'm guessing you are all bounty hunters who rob pirates that fall for your hospitality, Zoro says. It's original. I'll give them that at least, Naruto says with a hint of amusement. I count about 100 of you scumbags give or take, and we'll take on all of you, Zoro says. There's exactly 150, Naruto says. Good, I'll take 75 and you take 75. You hear me? Baroque works, Zoro says. All 150 of them pale. How do you know our company name? Igarappoi says. I was in a similar line of work once before. Your company gave me a job offer a while back. Naturally, I said no. Do the same rules still apply? Cheesy code names, identities kept secret, boss's whereabouts unknown even to all of you. That's some secret, Zoro says as Naruto finally opens his eyes and stands. This is a surprise. If you know all of our secrets, then I guess we have no choice but to kill the two of you, Igarappoi says. They both disappear in the blink of an eye. They're gone, Mr. 9 says. Where the heck did they disappear to? Igarappoi says. They all look around in confusion. Naruto and Zoro are looking at the spot they disappeared from. Is that how high up we were? Naruto asks. Seems so, Zoro says. The 150 Baroque Works members pale as they back up from the two of them. They then point their guns at the two of them. How dare you mock us? Fire, a member says. They all shoot at them. They disappear in the blink of an eye. The ones shooting all drop dead. Those fools shot each other, Igarappoi says. They disappeared again, Mr. 9 says. Kill them already, it's just a measly ass swordsman and a damn kid, Igarappoi yells. Zoro stabs his hair from behind, placing the blade dangerously close to his neck. Naruto places his claws on his neck, threatening to rip off his throat as it bleeds only slightly without causing pain with how sharp his nails are. "Didn't you say appearances can be deceiving?" Naruto asked. "There he is," a member says as they take aim. Igarappoi pales. "No, don't shoot, you're gonna shoot me too." Igarappoi yells. Naruto quickly moves and tackles Zoro as Igarappoi shoots his shotgun saxophone behind him, killing some of the members to protect himself. Both Naruto and Zoro are gone. "Why did they keep disappearing?" a member says in frustration. "It's a shame that you made me your enemy," Naruto says as he whispers in that one guy's ear. The guy swings his sword in fear as the regular clone dissolves. "Seems like the Academy clone is actually useful sometimes," Naruto thought. Miss Monday suddenly grabs Zoro by the throat. "Yo Zoro, need some help over there." Naruto mocks. "There's no man that can best my strength," Miss Monday says as she body slams Zoro and punches him with her brass knuckles. "That's one down," Igarappoi says. Zoro then stands and grips her head. "As if I need help. What's wrong? Didn't you want a battle of strengths?" Zoro says as he grips her head even harder, causing her to pass out. Did he really just overpower Miss Monday? Mr. 9 asks. "You know, you guys really talk a lot," Naruto says as he leans his arm on Mr. 9's shoulder. Mr. 9 pales in fear. Naruto flares his chakra mixed in with killing intent as all the Baroque Works members besides Mr. 9, Mr. 8 and Miss Wednesday all pass out. The three of them slowly back away in pure fear as they catch glimpses of their own deaths by his hand. "You knocked them all out, you idiot. You could have saved me some," Zoro says from behind the three. Wait, we could talk about this. There's no need to kill us. Please don't kill us. Please," Miss Wednesday says as she tries to charm them with her beauty. Naruto unsheathes Zoro's sword and strikes at Miss Wednesday with the intent to kill her. "No, don't kill Princess Vivi," Igarappoi says. Naruto stops short of her neck. Miss Wednesday is shaking in fear with tears going down her face while Zoro is glaring at Naruto angrily. "Did you just say princess?" Naruto asks as Zoro hits him on the top of the head and snatches his sword back. "Ow, you hit like a fucking train," Naruto says as he rubs his head. "Don't you ever touch my Wado Ichimonji, you whiskered bastard," Zoro yells. "My bad," Naruto says while rubbing his head. Naruto's ear twitches. "Get out of the way." Naruto yells as he moves in the blink of an eye, placing Flying Rage and Seal on the three Baroque Works members and Zoro. Then in a couple of yellow flashes moving faster than the speed of light, he teleports everyone away from the explosion. My, you're fast," some guy in a trench coat and sunglasses says while picking his nose. "That can't be sanitary," Naruto says in a disgusted tone. "In that reaction time," some girl wearing mostly yellow says while twirling an umbrella. "Who are these goofs?" Naruto asks. Mr. 8, 9 and Miss Wednesday pale. Mr. 5 and Miss Valentine. "What are you guys doing here?" Miss Wednesday asks. "Seems some VIP managed to infiltrate Baroque Works and that's a no-no. So we were sent to eliminate Princess Nefertari Vivi of Alabasta Kingdom and Igaram, the squad captain of Alabasta Security," Mr. 5 says. "Please. I know this is the most unreasonable request, but I need people of your strength to carry out this wish. Please take care of Princess Vivi and take her to Allah," Igarappoi says as he's cut off by Naruto. "Okay," Naruto says. "What? They just tried to kill us. Why are you trying to help them?" Zoro asks. "She's a princess," Naruto says. "You nearly kill her and now you wanna protect her because she's a princess?" Zoro asks. "Hey, I've had my fair share of experiences back home," Naruto says. "Fair enough," Zoro says. Mr. 5 picks his nose and flicks his booger at them. It hits Naruto on the back of his head and explodes. "One down," Mr. 5 says. The smoke clears and Naruto's eye starts twitching. Naruto slowly turns to him as his minor wound heals from Kurama's chakra. "I don't think I've seen him this angry before," Let's get out of here before something bad happens, Zoro says as he helps the three to their feet and sprints off. They are getting away, Miss Valentine says. Miss Valentine, whatever you do, don't move. If you do you'll die, Mr. Five says in a paranoid tone with his face beginning to pale. Naruto's eyes turn red with fox-like slits as he suddenly appears in front of him. Mr. Five gets a vision of an angry giant nine-tailed fox behind Naruto waiting to eat him. Calm down, Kurama, Naruto says. However, my life will be a lot easier if I just end your lives now. I'm tired of people like you ending innocent lives for your benefit, Naruto says as he charges up a Bijudama Rasenshuriken. Hey, now don't be so hasty, we could talk about this, Mr. Five says. Please don't kill us. We'll change, we swear, Miss Valentine says. You're lying, Naruto says as he throws the Rasenshuriken at them. The Rasenshuriken tears them apart at a cellular level, then blows up in a massive explosion, ultimately killing them. Zoro and the other three Baroque Works members see the massive explosion. They look in shock. That could have been us, Mr. Nine says while sweating. Huh? Naruto asks from behind them. They all scream in fear except for Zoro. So she's a princess, huh? Nami asks. Nami, I thought you were asleep, Zoro says. As if I'd fall asleep on a weird island like this. I could have kept drinking if I wanted, Nami brags. We should get out of here before they send more single-digit agents here, Princess Vivi says. Yeah, you're right, Nami says. I'll get Sanji and Usopp head to the ship, Naruto says. I'll make a decoy ship, Igarappoi says. We'll join you on the decoy, Mr. Nine and Miss Monday says. Igaram, no, Princess Vivi says. We have to, Igaram says. It's probably best Vivi, Naruto says. Fine, Princess Vivi says. Igaram, Monday and Nine all get onto a decoy ship and set sail away from the island. Couple minutes later the ship explodes into a burst of flames. Igaram, Princess Vivi yells with tears in her eyes. They were right, Zoro says. Their sacrifice cannot be in vain. Let's go, Naruto says while Sanji and Usopp are thrown over his shoulders like sacks of potatoes. They make it to the Straw Hat ship. Chapter 9.5, Leaving Whiskey Peak. Full speed ahead, Luffy says. They set sail. Hey, why are we leaving so soon? All those pretty girls, Sanji says. And food and drinks too. Usopp complains. Us pirates need breaks too. Sanji yells. Go back, Usopp says. They are so clueless, Zoro says. I'll explain to them, Nami says as she walks up to them cracking her knuckles. Hold on Nami, I got this one, Naruto says. Naruto's hand glows green as he hits them both on the top of their head, placing information on what's going on within them. We have to get out of here, Usopp yells. Naruto, there's someone on the ship. Kurama points out. Thanks, Naruto thought. Good thing we managed to escape the people following us, an unknown voice says. That's for sure, Nami says. Be careful not to crash into the rocks though, the unknown voice says. I'll take care of that, Nami says. Naruto appears behind the person and places a kunai firmly against her throat while placing a flying Raijin mark on her neck which moves down to the middle of her back. Naruto shushes her. You move, you die, activate a devil fruit, you die, say any lies, guess who dies, if you understand, close your eyes. Naruto says in a stern tone. The girl closes her eyes. State your name and only your name, Naruto says. Nico Robin, the girl now known as Robin says. What are you doing on my ship? Luffy yells. State your purpose for your presence, Naruto says. I came to warn you about what might happen at the next island. Baroque Works will be expecting you at the next island and by the looks of your log pose it's point towards another home base. Little garden, Robin says. She digs into her pocket. Naruto places the kunai closer to her throat drawing a trickle of blood. Didn't I say if you move you die? I'm not gonna go soft on you just because you're a girl, Naruto says. She slightly winces in pain as she raises her hands in defense. Sanji kicks the side of Naruto's head, causing him to lose grip and fall back. What the hell is your problem making a beautiful woman bleed? Sanji yells. Ow! Naruto shouts. Don't be so hasty. I wasn't given any orders. I have no reason to fight or attack you, so I'm not going to, Robin says. Naruto doesn't sense a lie. Very well, Naruto says as he puts his kunai away. Naruto jumps off and lands next to Nami. So why are you helping us? Vivi asks. I have no personal reason. It's just out of the kindness of my heart, Robin says as she tosses an eternal log pose to Nami. She then glances at Vivi. And don't worry. Mr. 8, 9 and Monday are all still alive, Robin says with a smile. Thank you for that closure, Vivi says. If you all survive, I hope we meet again, Robin says as she jumps off the ship. Let's go Bunchy, Robin says. The giant turtle she lands on starts to swim away. So, are we taking her route or going to Little Garden anyway? Zoro asks. We're gonna skip the Little Garden, Nami says. I'm going to Little Garden, Naruto says. Huh, Nami says. You heard him. He said he's going to Little Garden, Luffy says. You're gonna separate from us? Nami asks. Don't worry, I'll be back, Naruto says. Luffy, you're gonna just let him go? Nami asks. He's my second mate. I trust him with my life, Luffy says. Captain's word is final, just let it be, Nami, Zoro says. Nami sighs. Fine, Nami says. You guys head straight to the island of the eternal log pose that Robin gave us, Naruto says. Nami looks at the log pose. It is called Winter Island Drum, Nami says. Head there, I'll go to Little Garden. I'll meet up with you guys in a couple days, Naruto says. See you soon then, I guess, Zoro says. Hey Nami. Can I borrow the original log pose? I don't wanna get lost on the way, Naruto asks. Nami tosses him the log pose. Thanks, Naruto says as he places a flying Raging seal on the deck of the ship. See you guys later, Naruto says as he jumps off the ship and uses chakra control to water walk towards Little Garden. Chapter 10. Little Garden. A couple hours later he makes it to Little Garden. Such a misleading name. There's nothing little about this place, Naruto says as he steps onto shore. Loud clashing sounds are heard not far from his location. Are those giants? Naruto asks. Clash, clash, clash. They're fighting, but what for? Naruto thought. Naruto explores the forest, even finding a giant rock-like skeleton. Sea King bones. Naruto thought. One of the giants walks up and sits down, leaning back on the skeleton. Naruto walks in front of him. Excuse me, Sir Giant, Naruto says in a questioning tone. The giant's face lights up. Human. Do you have alcohol? The drinking kind? The giant says. Yeah, I do actually. Name's Naruto, by the way, he says. Name's Bragi, the strongest warrior in Elbaf. Yabba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba, Bragi laughs. Naruto bites his thumb, drawing blood, and wipes it on the storage seal on his left wrist. 2 barrels of alcohol appear in a puff of smoke. Thanks, Yabba-ba-ba-ba, Bragi laughs. If you don't mind me asking, what are you and that other giant fighting for? Naruto asks. I don't remember, Yabba-ba-ba-ba, Bragi laughs. The hell you mean you don't remember? Naruto asks, baffled. We've been fighting for almost 100 years. The reason for our battle is no longer known, but I will achieve victory. Yabba-ba-ba-ba, Bragi laughs. The volcano erupts. That's the signal, Bragi says as he speeds away and clashes with the other giant, causing a massive shockwave. Naruto watches the battle intently. Wow, Naruto says. Naruto then realizes why he's here. Wait, I'm supposed to be looking for this Baroque works base, Naruto says as he runs off. Besides those two giants, there's two other presences on this island. Northeast, Kurama says. Naruto jumps from tree to tree towards the base, then comes to a sudden stop. What the hell is that? Naruto thought. The two presences are in there. One is an adult male and a child female, Kurama says. Naruto jumps down from the tree without any sound and sneaks towards the window to listen inside. Miss Goldenweek. What are the chances Mr. 5 and Miss Valentine are dead? I mean, they are weak after all, the adult male says. It's possible Mr. 3. I mean, they still haven't reached out to us or arrived yet. The girl now known as Miss Goldenweek says. The guy known as Mr. 3 aggressively sips his tea. Refill please, Miss Golden says. Don't you have the artistic taste to savor your tea? Mr. 3 yells. Miss Goldenweek holds out her cup innocently. Mr. 3 sighs and pours her another cup. Naruto sneaks in through the window and leans against the wall with his arms crossed and stays there for a hot minute. Suddenly a den mushi inside of a box starts to ring. You should take that. It might be important, Naruto says. The two Baroque Works members jump in surprise and panic. Candle lock. Laughter yellow, they say simultaneously. Naruto gets captured by the candle lock but dodges the laughter yellow. Naruto pouts. That's no way to treat a guest. What's this? Candle wax. Naruto asks. Yes, and it's harder than iron. There's no way you can break it, Mr. 3 says. The den mushi continues to ring. You should really answer that, Naruto says as he melts the wax using a small fire jutsu. Mr. 3. He knows the weakness. Miss Goldenweek yells. Too late, Naruto says as he disappears in the blink of an eye using the shunshin, knocking them both out with chops to the back of the neck. They both groan as they fall unconscious. Naruto answers the den mushi. You've reached the Candleman's hotline. What's up? Naruto asks. A moment of silence. You can quit fooling around now. Jackass, the man on the other side of the line says. Naruto straightens up and becomes serious. Now then, your reports are a little bit late, don't you think? The man on the other line says. My report, you say? And to whom am I speaking to? Naruto asks. It's me. Mr. Zero, the man now known as Mr. Zero says. Naruto's face twists in disgust and anger. It's been a long time since I issued your orders, Mr. 3. What's going on over on that island? Mr. Zero says. Shit, Naruto mutters under his breath. Well, are you gonna answer me? When I ask a question I expect an answer. Have you eliminated Princess Vivi and the Straw Hats as you were ordered? Mr. Zero asks. Oh yeah, I eliminated all those pesky brats except for the captain. I have him currently tied up and knocked out in the corner since he has a bounty on his head, but now that I think about it I forgot the rest of his crew had a bounty as well, but that doesn't matter. They are dead just like you ordered me to, Naruto says. Good work, you did better than I expected you to. As we speak the Unluckies are on their way to you now to confirm the success of your mission. And to deliver a certain package, Mr. Zero says. Yes of course, but a package? Naruto asks. It's an eternal pose to Alabasta. Make your way here as soon as you receive it so we can discuss the details of our most important operation that will be taking place soon, Mr. Zero says. Yes sir, Naruto says. Suddenly an otter and a vulture appears in the window. The vulture aims two guns on its back at Naruto and the otter unsheaths two handheld claws. Mr. 3. What's going on over there? Mr. Zero asks. That straw hat bastard just woke up and now he's crashing out, Naruto says. The vulture shoots his guns at Naruto. Naruto disappears in the blink of an eye and slits the throat of both the vulture and the otter as they drop to the ground twitching. Naruto dusts off his hands. Mr. 3, what's going on over there? Mr. Zero asks. Naruto picks up the den mushi. Oh nothing, it's just that Straw Hat woke up and managed to get free of my bindings. I had to kill him in order to shut him up. Sorry about the 30% bounty decrease, Naruto says. So that means every single Straw Hat is dead now? Mr. Zero asks. Very well. Once you get the log pose, head straight to Alabasta. Do you understand? Mr. Zero says. Yes sir, Naruto says. Mr. Zero hangs up. Naruto glances at the 4 bodies on the floor, Mr. 3, Miss Goldenweek, and the Unluckies, and picks up the dropped log pose. What should I do with these 2? Naruto thought. Give them to that Robin girl or just kill them, Kurama says. You know what? I'll be nice. I'll give them to Robin, Naruto says as he picks up Mr. 3 and Miss Goldenweek. Naruto disappears in a yellow flash, reappearing in front of Robin, scaring her as she jumps away in fear. Naruto tosses Mr. 3 and Miss Goldenweek to the ground rather uncomfortably. Who the hell are you? A familiar voice says from behind Naruto. Just here to drop off this candle man and painter, Naruto says in an uncaring voice as he turns to see who it is. A sand hand shoots out at Naruto. Naruto dodges and jumps away. Gaara, Naruto thought. He sees Crocodile. Oh, it's just a sand user. You're not special, Naruto says as he chuckles. I have a bit of experience against a sand user, Naruto says, thinking about Gaara. You must be Mr. Zero, right? Crocodile, Naruto says with a smirk. You know my secret now, you must die, Crocodile says as he surrounds the room in sand. Naruto chuckles. I'd love to stay but I have to get going. I'm sure we'll meet again, Naruto says as he disappears in a yellow flash. Damn it, Crocodile mutters, then glares at Mr. 3 and Miss Goldenweek. Pathetic little fools, Crocodile says as he covers them with sand and kills them by absorbing the moisture in their bodies. Miss All Sunday, send the Mr. 2 and the Mr. 1 pairs to find and kill the Straw Hats, Crocodile yells. Robin walks off. Consider it done, Robin says while her voice is still a tad bit shaky from the jump scare. Chapter 10.5, On the Way to Drum Kingdom. Naruto reappears on his cruise ship in a yellow flash and instantly gets surrounded by people with guns pointed at him, so he just puts his hands in his pocket. What seems to be the problem here? Naruto asks calmly. Well, we're under attack and it's cold, Luffy says calmly. Well yeah. The guns pointing at our face kinda gave that away, Sanji says as he takes a puff of his cigarette. You all consider yourself a band of pirates. That's amusing. I only count 7 of you, the leader of the invasion known as Wapol says as he eats a knife. It's so strange that your group would have so few members, Wapol says as he finishes off the knife. That guy is just weird. What kind of guy likes to eat knives, Luffy says in a disgusted tone. My gums are bleeding just watching, Usopp says. Alright, I'll keep this simple. My men and I wish to travel to Drum Kingdom. You wouldn't happen to have an eternal pose or a log pose, would you? Wapol asks. So what if we do? Luffy says. Would you learn to keep your mouth shut for once? Nami yells. Can you guys just leave already? Luffy asks. No, I don't think I will. I will be taking your pose and eating your ship since I am quite famished, Wapol says as he takes a bite out of the side of the ship. The crew's face changes to one of shock. Hey, my ship isn't your lunch. Luffy yells. Quiet, Wapol-sama doesn't like to be disturbed while he's eating, the guard says as he holds his gun closer to Luffy's head. Shut up, Luffy yells as he hits the guard on the top of the head, knocking him out. Damn pirate, we're under attack, shoot them, another guard says. The guards start firing and attacking. Now things are finally starting to get interesting, Zoro smirks. Perfect. Now it's time to cook, Sanji says. Couldn't have said it any better myself, Naruto says. Usopp runs in fear. The Straw Hats start kicking the asses of the guards. These guys are pretty weak, Naruto says as he continues kicking ass with his hands still in his pockets. Zoro cuts down a group of them. All bark no bite, Zoro frowns. You shouldn't take on anything you can't handle, Sanji says as he plants his feet into the throats and backs of many guards, knocking them out or breaking bones. Luffy charges Wapol. Stop eating my damn ship. Luffy yells. Gum Gum Bazooka, Luffy says as he sends Wapol flying like Team Rocket. Naruto's eyes changes to that of the Rinnegan. Universal Pull, Naruto says as he holds his hand out towards Wapol. Wapol flies towards Naruto and then Naruto catches him by his throat causing Wapol to cough up blood. Wind Release Vacuum Bullet, Naruto says as he shoots out a wind bullet at Wapol, piercing a gaping hole in his chest. Almighty Push, Naruto says sending Wapol hella far out. No Wapol-sama, he can't swim, we have to save him. Men Retreat, the second in command of Wapol says. He probably won't survive that hole in his chest, Sanji remarks. All the guards retreat and they set off to find Wapol. Both Naruto and Zoro smirk. Captain, can I sink that ship? Zoro and Naruto asked simultaneously. All of a sudden a Sea King swallows their ship whole and all is heard as fading screams. Naruto pouts. Never mind, Naruto says with a depressing rain cloud over his head as his eyes return to their normal azure blue color. How can someone so powerful be so childish, Nami thought. Usopp is repairing the bite taken out of the ship. Sanji, can you make us some food? I'm starving, Luffy whines. You just ate an hour ago, Sanji complains. Yeah, well now I'm hungry again, Luffy pouts. Yeah, now that I think about it I am too, Naruto says. Same here, Nami and Vivi say. Okay, I'll cook for you lovely ladies again, Sanji says with hard eyes. Zoro rolls his eyes. 30 minutes later and the whole crew sits down to eat. So Naruto, what did you do when you went to Little Garden? Vivi asks. Oh, do I have a story to tell, Naruto says. The rest of the crew's interest was piqued. Let me start by saying, the name for that place is a load of bullshit. There was nothing little about that place, it was a damn forest. Then I met these giants who had been fighting for 100 years and what confused me is the fact that they forgot what they were fighting for. Then I knocked out 2 Baroque Works members and talked to the boss of operations Mr. Zero on a snail. Vivi is shocked by this. Then I got bored and didn't know what to do with the 2 members, so I teleported in front of Robin with them in my arms, scaring the hell out of her. Her reaction was priceless, Naruto says while laughing. Lastly, all of a sudden I get attacked from behind by the Sand Logia crocodile. Naturally I dodged because I'm awesome like that, you know, Naruto grins widely, subconsciously letting out his famous verbal tick. And now I'm here, Naruto chuckles. So cool. You met the warlord. Luffy yells. Very interesting story, Sanji says. That's crazy, Nami and Vivi say simultaneously. Chapter 11. Drum Kingdom. Naruto's ear twitches. We're at Drum Kingdom. You guys stay here for a second. I'll be right back, Naruto says as he finishes his food and walks out to the dock. The ship pulls up to the Winter Island as Naruto walks onto deck. Multiple rifle clicks are heard as they point towards Naruto. Now that's not any way to treat a visitor, Naruto pouts. Children, one of the villagers with a gun says. Where's the rest of the people on this ship, or is it just you 2? A villager says, pointing the gun at Naruto. 2. Naruto thought until he sensed Luffy behind him, then mental face palmed. Scratch that, leave here you damn pirates, another says who carries a pitchfork. Sadly, even if we wanted we can't leave until the pose is recalibrated to the next island. Please can you just lower your weapons and we can talk something out. Naruto states. Do you guys have any meat? Luffy asks. You just ate 2 seconds ago, Naruto says as he hits Luffy on the top of the head. Ow, Luffy says as his head steams from the hit. You can't fool us, you filthy pirates, another villager says as he shoots at Luffy's feet. Luffy gets mad and Naruto restrains him. Calm the hell down, this is why I told you to stay inside. You can't go fighting people for trying to protect their home. Naruto scolded. The rest of the crew comes from below deck hearing gunshots and the townspeople all point their weapons at them. Usopp pales in fear. Sanji lights his cigarette. Zoro places his hand on his blades. Naruto grits his teeth, then turns his attention to the villagers. I'm willing to pay any compensation or something in exchange we stay for a couple of days. We gain nothing for harming innocent people, in fact we would choose to help them if possible, Naruto says. The chief looks down on Naruto, debating whether to believe him or not. Who is the captain of this ship? The chief asks. I am. Luffy yells angrily. We want your most treasured items for the duration of your stay, including your ship. If you do so or threaten to harm anyone, we will destroy your most prized possessions and burn your ship. Do you accept these terms and conditions? The chief asks. Naruto glances at Luffy. This is your decision to make, Captain, Naruto says. I don't like it, but it's the only choice we have, Luffy says. You can't be serious, Zoro complains. Relax, Mosshead. You'll get your swords back before we leave, Sanji says. Shut up, shitty cook, Zoro yells. Luffy takes off his straw hat and gently places it on the dock of the ship. Sanji tosses his cooking supplies next to Luffy's hat. Zoro places his 3 swords next to their things. Usopp places his slingshot next to their things. Nami places a bag of gold next to their things. Vivi places her earrings and bracelet next to their things. Naruto hesitates before pulling out the headband Iruka gave him when he first became a genin, after putting a flying Raijin tag in between the metal and the cloth. He folds it neatly before placing it with the rest of the items. Leave the items and follow me, I'll be showing you where you'll be staying, the chief says as he leads them to a motel with a bar right next door. Whoa, look at all the weird animals walking around everywhere, Luffy says. Well, this is a snow country after all, Usopp says. This place is called Big Horn. It's where we live, the chief says. What's up with those tall mountains? Sanji asks. That's where the only doctor on this island lives. People call her a witch, the chief says. A witch? Why? Nami asks. People say they've seen her fly up down the mountain on a reindeer and sled, the chief says. Yelling is heard down the road. Hey, you messed up my snowman. The voice says. You can hardly call that a snowman, Usopp, the voice says. Hey, look at my snow Godzilla, the third voice says. Nami recognizes the 3 voices. Luffy, Naruto, Usopp, stop acting like children and come on. Nami yells. Nami, we are just having fun, party pooper, Luffy says. Which, Usopp says. Naruto shivers as he gets a flashback of Sakura. Scary, Naruto mumbles. Here's the place you'll be staying, the chief says. I don't think we ever got your name, Zoro states. My apologies. My name is Dalton, the chief, now known as Dalton, says. Anyway, tell us about this witch doctor you speak of, Vivi asks. Do I know you from somewhere? Dalton asks suspiciously. No. I'm sure I just have one of those familiar faces, Vivi panicked. Sure, anyway her name is Dr. Kureha. She's around the age of 140, Dalton says. What's so special about this old hag? Naruto says. Who are you calling an old hag? An old lady who's recognized as Kureha speaks. Dalton's face pales. Dr. Kureha, what a surprise. I'm sure he didn't mean it, he's just a boy, Dalton says. No, I meant it, Naruto deadpans. I'll show you, old little boy. I'm still in my youthful 140s, Kureha says as she speeds towards Naruto. Naruto blocks the attack effortlessly. What the hell is that? Usopp yells, pointing at a standing reindeer. Looks like a raccoon, Zoro says. Food, Luffy says. I could try sautéing it, Sanji says. The reindeer holds onto Kureha's leg in fear. Stop it, you're scaring him, Kureha yells. What is it? Nami asks. His name is Chopper, he's a reindeer who ate a devil fruit. The human fruit specifically, Kureha says. Cool. Join my crew, Luffy shouts. You can't be serious. That thing is a monster, Usopp says. Chopper and Naruto flinch at that word. That was rude, Usopp, Naruto says. Oh, Right, sorry. Usopp says after realizing his mistake. Naruto walks up to Chopper and bends down to his level as Chopper cowers in fear. Hey, Chopper wasn't it. How old are you? Naruto asks. Chopper hesitates. 15, Chopper says. That's cool. I'm 16, Naruto says. He's around my age, Chopper thought. You're free to join us if you'd like before you do. You should know that you're not the only monster in this room. I know being called a monster hurts. I too have been through it once before, but instead of letting it get to me, I still strive to be the best version of myself. I help as many people as I can, so one day I'll be respected by all allies and feared or known as a monster by all enemies, Naruto says. I never thought of it that way, Chopper says. Kurha smiles slightly, seeing Chopper open up a bit. Chopper glances at Kurha and turns back to the crew. I appreciate the offer, but I must stay with Doctrine, Chopper says. I refuse, Luffy states. Nami and Naruto hit the top of his head. Again, you can't force people to join if they don't wanna. It's his choice, not yours, Naruto says. Yeah, what he said, Nami says. Is that the choice you truly wanna make, Chopper? Kurha asks. Chopper hesitates. Perhaps going with them will help you reach your dream, Kurha says. Dream? What is your dream, reindeer dude? Luffy asks. My dream is to find a cure for all diseases, Chopper says. Awesome, you might as well join us. We need a doctor anyway, Luffy says. Right, we would love for you to join us, Nami says with a slight smile. Naruto stays quiet because he knows if he explains that he has medical abilities, they'll lose their chances of Chopper joining. Chopper tears up in happiness. I'll join, Chopper yells as he jumps into Nami's arms. Alright, a new crewmate, let's celebrate. Luffy yells. Are we leaving now? Let's not forget they have our most valuable items. I would like to get my shit back before I start raising hell, Naruto states rather irritatedly. We can't leave until the log pose resets. We'll be here for a couple more hours. We leave at dawn, Nami says. Naruto groans. Dalton walks in with all of the Straw Hat's valuable items. Don't worry, I trust you few, so I will be giving you your most valued items back, Dalton says. When did he leave? Both Sanji and Usopp thought simultaneously. Naruto is the first to move, grabbing his headband gifted to him by Iruka. You bunch have a good night, Dalton says as he leaves. Shortly everyone falls asleep, Naruto and Zoro in their naturally cautious half-sleep state. 7 hours later at dawn, Sanji is the first one up and moving around to make breakfast for everyone. Luffy, Zoro, and Naruto smell the food and wake up. Food. Luffy and Naruto yell out as they race to the table. Zoro calmly walks to the table. Sanji, how much longer? Luffy groans. Why isn't the log pose reset yet? Nami complains. Didn't Dalton say it takes 5 days for it to reset? Sanji points out. No, Nami replies irritatedly. Yeah, you were just too busy yelling at them for making snowmen at the time, Vivi points out. Oh wait, I forgot I had this. Naruto unseals the eternal log pose to Alabasta. Nami snatches it from him and punches the top of his head. You idiot, Nami yells with shark-like teeth. Ow. Sakura, that hurts, Naruto complains. Sakura. Who's that? Nami asks. Naruto's expression darkens. Oh. Did I touch a sore spot? Nami thought. Don't answer that. Sorry, Nami says. Since Naruto has an eternal log pose, doesn't that mean we can leave now? Vivi asks. Yeah, let's go, Luffy shouts. The crew packs up and heads out to sea with their new crewmate in tow. Chapter 11.5, On the way to Alabasta. 2 days later, Sanji is grabbing Luffy's face. Look me in the eye and tell me. How did enough food for 9 people, which I carefully divided so that it would last until we got to Alabasta, suddenly go missing overnight? Sanji asks. Luffy looks confused. Lying is pointless, so just out with it, Sanji says. Luffy's stomach grumbles. It's not his fault. I sealed it because I sensed that he would have eaten it all if I didn't, Naruto says. Kurama yawns. Hey brat, let me out of this seal, it's gotten quite boring in here, Kurama says. I guess, Naruto thought as he bit his thumb and started doing hand signs. Summoning jutsu, Naruto shouts. Kurama appears in a puff of smoke, but he's the size of an average K9 with 9 tails. It's about damn time. I've been in that seal for the longest, Kurama says as he stretches. Chopper hides. Why is there a fox on board? It's gonna eat me. Chopper yells. Relax Chopper, this is Kurama. My companion, Naruto says. He's kind of cute, Nami says. I am not cute vixen. I am powerful enough to destroy continents, Kurama says as he's cut off by Nami scratching under his chin. Kurama melts in her arms. Wow. I've never seen him so relaxed, Naruto says. Are there any other foxes you can summon? Or is Kurama the only one? Vivi asks. There's 9 of us summoning foxes in total human, Kurama says. Naruto, can you summon them please? Vivi asks excitedly. I wasn't even aware of that myself, Naruto says as he bites his thumb drawing blood and does hand signs. Summoning jutsu, Naruto says as 8 more puffs of smoke appear, revealing a light pink one-tailed love fox with the name tag Aika, a white two-tailed snow fox with the name tag Yukiko, a blue three-tailed friendly fox with the name tag Tomoko, a sky blue four-tailed sky fox with the name tag Sora, a light green five-tailed fox with the name tag Konohana, a gray six-tailed mist fox with the name tag Kasumi, a yellow seven-tailed lightning fox with the name tag Raiko, and a black eight-tailed fox with a sword and the name tag Kuro. They are so cute, Vivi and Nami says while squealing. That's so cool, Luffy says with so much enthusiasm. I still never seen you do the shadow clone technique yet, Zoro says. Naruto sighs. Shadow clone jutsu, Naruto says as he does a one-handed hand sign and 9 perfect copies of himself appear in a puff of smoke. Chopper's face lights up. Are you a ninja? Chopper asks. Yeah I am, all 10 Narutos say at the same time, then dispersing, leaving one, the original. Hey Nami. What is that stuff? Luffy asks, pointing at rising fog in the distance. Nothing to worry about. It's just a little steam, Nami says. Steam? Vivi asks. Yeah, it's just a hot spot. There's volcanoes on the ocean floor in that spot, Nami says. Volcanoes underwater? Chopper asks. Yeah, in fact there are more volcanoes underwater than there is on dry land, Nami states. The ship sails through it. Karu is complaining and squirming. The entirety of the ship's attention shifts to Karu. Man, one of these days I gotta stop attaching myself to every random duck I see, a man in a ballerina swan suit says. Foxes 1 to 8 get into attack ready while Kurama lays down lazily. Stand down, Naruto says, and they listen. The crew glances at the ballerina man. Who the hell are you? Zoro asks rather irritatedly. My apologies for the intrusion, but my name is Bon Clay. I have a bad habit of jumping onto ducks, the ballerina man says. Vivi's face pales. Vivi, what's wrong? Sanji asks. Did that as Mr. 2, Vivi stutters out. The entire crew is on edge. Naruto flares his chakra, Zoro gets ready to unsheath his blade, Nami points his staff at him, Usopp points his slingshot at him, Sanji gets ready to kick and the foxes get ready to attack again. Bon Clay puts his hands up in a surrendering manner because he knows he's severely outnumbered. So what do we do with him? Naruto asks. Luffy shrugs. I don't know, Luffy says as he picks his nose. Do you have a devil fruit, Clay? Naruto asks. Why yes I do actually, Bon Clay says as he gets cut off by Naruto dragging him. This oughta be exciting to see, Zoro says. Naruto holds him over the edge of the ship. Wait, no, please have mercy, I can't swim, Bon Clay cries out. Naruto drops him and jumps down after him. Man overboard, someone help him, Chopper yells. Bon Clay yells out in fear, but he never touches water. Huh. Bon Clay voices his confusion but then notices that Naruto is still holding him while standing on water. He's standing on the water. Chopper says in confusion. Please don't drop me. I can't swim. I beg of you, Bon Clay says. Give me one good reason why I shouldn't. You're our enemy after all, Naruto says as he dips his head in the water and lifts him back up. Bon Clay coughs on his way out. I can be your friend, I'll even betray Mr. Zero, just please I don't wanna die, Bon Clay. Killing you off will make our lives easier, Zoro states. Do we have an empty barrel? Naruto asks. Sanji tosses down an empty barrel. Perfect, Naruto says as he smirks. Wait please, we can talk about this, Bon Clay says. Naruto stuffs Bon Clay into the barrel and seals it closed with a minor damage prevention seal. Hey, let me out, Bon Clay says. Have fun, Naruto says as he throws the barrel into the ocean. Naruto jumps back onto the ship. Now that that's taken care of, we can finish heading to Alabasta. Which happens to be straight ahead, Naruto says while gesturing to the sandy island behind him.
Thanks for listening, but that's all I have for part 1. If you want part 2, then like and subscribe so that you can be notified after a 4-month hiatus. I'll post it as soon as I'm done writing. Bye, I'll see you in 4 months. By the way, here is my Instagram where I post anime edits and my TikTok where I post updates regarding the story.
Legend. Look at our legacy, cause we left quite an impression. I'm a legend. Best yeah, better be, you couldn't doubt for a second. I'm a legend. You're not impressing me, someone you won't be forgetting. I'm a legend. Best believe you're looking at a legend. Cut through the game with a flying, rising. Instant transmission, I hit it faster than lightning. Fighting, striking, keep the rhythm riding. Press it in my temper, buddy, you need a bit of timing. Get it to Hokage, the roads and edges I'm climbing. Creating the risk, I gotta choose so that I'm designing. String together hits like a violin, like it's in my wiring. I'm a shinobi legend inspiring. Hair you apart like a hymen. Polish my abilities and shining like a diamond. The only time I lose is when I choose, when I am dying. Bigger than life, a Hokage, a titan. Fought in the war that you bet I'm surviving. Meeting the sun and I beat so bad that I'm turning the shonen into sign. And you keep on crying, call me the king of the jungle, the lion. Training Hokages, they sweat as they grinding. Protecting your moves like a mine. I'm finding you nothing compared to my truck I supplying. Flames in my coat cause I'm bringing the heat, boy, you know that I'm hotter than Cayenne. Stop trying, yellow flash cause I'm electrifying.